Hi everyone, it's Jackie. Uh, we are going to make the hinge and the cover for my 6x8 pocket and tag album. And I'm going to share with you how I do my hinges, and then I'm going to also walk through actually making the cover with you for this album. So to start with, um, our album is 8 inches tall by 6 inches wide. So I went ahead and I cut a piece of my cardstock, which is the Cartabella Natural Linen, and I cut it at 7 7/8 width. Because of the 8-inch cover, I want to leave about a 1/16 of an inch between uh, less than my actual cover. Alright? So what we're going to do is with the paper, and I've already scored this, but I'm going to rescore it with you. So our first score is going to be at 1 1/4, and then we're going to score it, count out 3/8 score, and then we're going to score at a 1/2 inch, and again at another 1/2 inch, again another half, another 1/2 inch, another 1/2 inch. And now you can see that I'm not right on the actual 4, so I went 4 1/8. So how I do that is I just count over 4 notches. So 1, 2, 3, 4. That's a 1/2 inch. 1, 2, 3, 4. Another 1/2 inch. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1/2 inch. And again another 1/2 inch. Another. Under the score line there, right? 1/2 inch. And I score. So how I do this is, it's going to take 2 1/2 inches to make one of our hinge. So there's one, and then you have a 1/2 inch between the hinge, another hinge, a 1/2 inch, another hinge, 1/2 inch, another hinge, and a 1/2 inch. And then I've got 5 pages, so I want 5 hinges, so I'm going to do one more 1/2 inch, and then another 1/2 inch, and then I'm going to end with 3/8 of an inch. Okay, so then I'm going to get this out so I can put the score tape, and I am using my 3/8 inch score tape for this. I'm going to turn it this way, and hopefully you can see. So I'm going to, you got your 3/8, your 1 1/4, your 3/8, a 1/2 inch, a 1/2 inch. So I'm going to do a 1/2 inch on my first, put tape on my first 1/2 inch, skip one, put tape on my next one, skip one, put tape on my next one, skip one, tape down on the next 1/2 inch, alright, skip one, you're going to put your score tape down. Now I use score tape. You could use adhesive, liquid adhesive, but I prefer to use score tape on all of my hinges and also on all my covers. So another skip one, do another 1/2 inch, and then that will be it. So then what you want to do is you want to fold, do the valley and mountain fold. So You burnish it down. You can clean up your edges, but I just simply so there we go. We've got 2 of our hinges right there. Come back and add the score tape here. And my score tape here. Cut off the excess on this side. Right. So then on the edge, you've got your 3/8 there. Fold that over, and then on this side, you're going to fold that one over. Now you're going to have more just a wee bit over than this, and what I do is usually just stick it in here. Oops, sorry, didn't mean to hit the camera. So I'm just going to cut off of 1/4 of an inch off of this. Add my score tape to there. And here. my score tape. Flat. And then I'm going to fold this over. There I go. I have my hinge now. So, for your cover, you want 2 pieces of chipboard cut at, I did 6.5 by 8.5. Now, the reason I went only a half an inch longer than my actual pages is I'm going to actually do a flip over closure on this album. On my album that I shared using the Blue Fern Studios Seaside Cottage, I did not add a closure. I left it open, and in that case I went 7 by 9, giving it an inch between the pages, so half an inch on each side. So two pieces of chipboard cut at 6.5 by 8.5, and then to figure out how big our spine's going to be, our spine is going to be 2 7/8. So I need to cut my chipboard for my spine at 2 7/8. And I'm just going to use my little Fisker so get me a piece of chipboard, 2 7/8. Right over here, and this should be 2 7/8 by 8.5. And I'm going to fit that right up there on that, like that. So when I go to glue it on, I'm going to have it exactly on my spine. So before I do that, we need to add score tape to the back of this. And I'm going to cover this well with score tape. And I'm actually going to bring out my 1/2 inch score tape. Cover my spine. And I'm going to make sure I'm burnishing it all down. Cut off the excess. You can see I'm not the neatest with my score tape. And, well, I didn't do too bad this time. Alright, and now we have our spine, or hinge, I'm sorry, hinge ready to go to be added to our spine once we make the cover. Okay, so for our cover, we're going to need 2 pieces of chipboard cut at 6.5 by 8.5, which I have right here. So I have my 2 pieces of chipboard for my main cover, and then I'm going to have my spine cut at 8.5, and my width is going to be 2 7/8. So that's going to be our cover, and then you're going to take your cardstock, and I'm going to, what I do with my cardstock is I cut it down. So my height of my album is 8.5, so I've cut my cardstock, a 12 by 12, down to 10.5 inches, all right? And then what I do before I even start adding my chipboard is I go ahead and I score at 1 inch on the bottom and 1 inch at the top. And this is going to be my guide for my chipboard. If you have a quilting ruler that like Tamara uses, you can do that. I don't have a quilting ruler as of yet, and so this is how I have my guide. It helps guide me where to put my chipboard and try to keep it straight. So I'm going to be adding a couple of pieces of my cardstock together, and so what I do is I add a line of 1/4 inch of score tape down the one side. I add it on the other side of my others paper, 12 by 12 paper. Pull that off. And then I just, let's see if I can get this in the camera. I just line them up. Okay, not like that, obviously. So I overlap them. I cut this off because otherwise it's going to be bold. Alright, so I line bottom to top. I just overlap them. And then burnish them down. Okay, and since I'm adding a closure, an extra closure to fold over the top of this album, I have cut another piece of 6 by 12 or 6 by 10.5, and I've already added that to it. Now, so what we want to do is we want to line up our chipboard. So, and using my score mark, I have it as a guide. So on the seam, I want to put that one down there. I'm going to add my back cover here. And then I'm going to add my front cover here. I'm going to have excess over here on this side, which we'll be trimming off. And then, so if you're not going to use a closure, you're going to have it open and close it with, you know, ribbon or elastic ribbon or a closure, then another type of closure, then that is all you're going to need for your album. Since I'm adding a fold over closure to mine, I'm going to add another piece of chipboard cut the same length and width as my spine, so 2 7/8 by 8.5. And then I'm also going to add a 8.5 piece cut at 2 1/4, which is going to flip over. So let's pull our score tape off. Okay, and I start with my spine. Line it up on the seam. Line it up, match it up to my score mark on top, my score mark on the bottom. Press it down. then I'm going to take my 1/4" tape. And do it on both sides. And on my, as you can see on my chipboard, I use the 8.5 by 11 score tape sheets, which I just absolutely love. These are awesome when you're making an album, and so much easier than having to do strip by strip of score tape. So, see if I can line this up straight. And my chipboard, as you can see, one side is the craft and the other side is the white. Well, the white here. And that's just the white chipboard that I have right now. Okay, and now we're going to do the back cover. Pull this off. I'm going to line it up. Turn it over, and I'm going to make sure it's all sealed down. Okay. Now, if you were not making, like I said, if you're not making a cover with an added closure to it, this is all you would need for your cover. I am going to add a closure to this album. I did not do it on my other one, but this one I do want it on here. So I'm going to add another piece of chipboard that is the same size as my spine, exact same measurements as my spine, and add that in here. And then add my other piece here. And as you can see with this, I didn't have enough left over, so what I did was I just added one strip of my 3/8 score tape. So it makes it kind of nice. Saves on your rolls of score tape. And I'm going to line that up over that seam. Alright, there I go. So, now I am going to take my 3/8 tape and run it all the way across the top. All the way over. I'm going to do it on the top. That was the bottom. I'm going to do it on the top as well. Now, this time is when I cut off my excess. So what I do is I line this up. I want 1 inch to work with. So I set my chipboard edge on my inch marker and wipe off the extra. Turn this over and do the same. So I'm going to put it on the inch. Okay. And then I'm going to line my tape up on the bottom. Hopefully you can see this. This vanilla white on this linen cover kind of blends together. Now, I don't go all the way to the edges over here for the simple fact that I'm going to be cutting my corners off so we can miter my corners. Side. And more side. Okay. Now, we want to go ahead and start molding our paper onto our fold. And because I have the double seams, not only does the pre-scoring of my 1" here help me find my score. There's my bone folder. I want to take and go over, just run my bone folder along the edge of my chipboard because of the seams. So I do it on the top and as well as the bottom. So because I have 2 seams here, I'm going to make sure that these sides are both pretty much scored here. Okay. Now this is a trick that I learned from Tamara. So I'm just going to take a very small stream of glue along the edge of my chipboard, and what that does is it not only helps secure, but it helps softens the chipboard a little bit. Before I do that, we got to kind of miter our corners. Now, you can do it a couple of ways. You can use a piece of chipboard. I've got a double width chipboard here, and I can use that, if you can see that. I can use that to hold up to, and then draw a line like that. Or you can take and bend this back, and it'll give you a line there, and then you want to cut 1/16 up from that line, or you can eyeball it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and do this, and I'll show you how to. And then I just come up here and do that one, and then I'm going to eyeball the other one. Around side, and then I'm going to do this one as well. Okay. And I just cut it off and cut it off. Okay. Finish taking your glue. Alright, I did that side. I'm going to run it down this side here along this edge. And along this edge, that edge, and this edge, and again, working with my paper. So, just notice I never did finish taping this. I got to tape this side here, I'm going to take this side over here. And I want to pull up all my score tape now. One here. So what I'm going to do is I'm pulling my paper over my chipboard. Turn it over, do the same side to the other side. So then on this one, on the corners, you want to take your bone folder or your nail. It's just easier for me to take my nail and fold that in. And then the other side. Okay, I did cut this one too short, as you can see, right here. I didn't when I mitered that corner, I cut it way too short. But that's okay, we're going to fix that when I cover the inside. So, and there I have my album. It's complete. Okay? And you're going to take your paper, your cardstock, make sure you cut it to size. You want to cut it, I would say, at least a 1/16 to 1/4 of an inch. Now on this one I'm going to have to bring it over a little bit further to hide my little air there, but I think I'll be alright. I'll just match that up a little bit closer than normal. And then you want to cover the inside. And then you'll add your spine, or your hinge to your spine, and that's going to be a perfect fit right there. So when you fold it over, you're going to have your spine like that. Oh, there you go. Let me know if you have any questions. Thanks for watching. Appreciate it so much. Bye-bye.